Welcome to the City of Bakersfield Planning Commission meeting. This television broadcast is brought to you by the local cable companies, the County of Kern, and the City of Bakersfield. You can watch the rebroadcast of this meeting Saturday at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 10 a.m. You can download the agenda for this meeting at www.bakersfieldcity.us. Presiding over this evening's meeting, Chair Daniel Cater.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to call to order the October 18th, 2018 Planning Commission meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Cater.
Here.
Commissioner Bell.
Here.
Commissioner Coleman.
Here.
Commissioner Lomas.
Here.
Commissioner Rudnick.
Here.
Commissioner Wade.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for attending tonight's Planning Commission meeting. This commission provides an opportunity for public participation in the development process throughout the City of Bakersfield. The Planning Commission considers a wide variety of projects, including subdivision maps, zone changes, general plan amendments, and more. When applications are received, the City Planning Division analyzes the request. Planning staff will present the facts about the project along with their recommendation to the Commission, who will approve the item or make a recommendation as appropriate. Our goal is to carefully consider each project and make a decision that will balance individual rights with public welfare and the general well-being of our community. We will now receive public statements. This is the time reserved for anyone wishing to address the Commission on a matter not on the consent calendar public hearings portion of the agenda. If you are here on items 5A through 5I, this is not the time to speak. Does anyone in the audience wish to address the Commission? If so, please come forward and state your name. Seeing no one, we will move on to the consent calendar non-public hearing items. These agenda items typically involve housekeeping or administrative matters that do not require a public hearing. Does any commissioner wish to remove a consent calendar non-public hearing item for separate consideration? If not, may I have a motion to adopt staff's recommendation on the consent calendar non-public hearing items?
I'll make a recommendation to accept the consent calendar non-public hearing item.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Bell. Madam Secretary, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Cater.
Yes.
Commissioner Bell.
Yes.
Commissioner Coleman.
Yes.
Commissioner Lomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Rudnick.
Yes.
We will now move on to consent calendar public hearing items. The next agenda section includes public hearing items that are considered routine or non-controversial. These items have been reviewed by staff and are conditioned in accordance with the Bakersfield Municipal Code. The planning director will read each of the items on the consent calendar to ensure that the public has an understanding of all items to be considered. If you would like to speak on an item, please come forward after the items are read and ask that the item be removed for discussion. Staff is requesting that the public hearing item 5C be continued until November 1st, 2008 Planning Commission meeting. Because this item is on the agenda for tonight, we will open the public hearing to provide anyone here wishing to speak on the item an opportunity to be heard. However, since this item will not be considered by the Commission tonight, you may wish to reserve your comments until this item is brought back before the Planning Commission on November 1st, 2018. If no items are removed by a member of the public or a commissioner, the Commission will vote on all items together in one motion without further comment. Mr. Coyle, may you read the items for tonight?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. We have a number of projects on the agenda this evening. Project 5A is a revised Plan Development Review 18-0353, which is a proposal to approve an updated site configuration for a shopping center located at the northeast corner of Olive Drive and Jewetta Avenue. Project 5B is a revised Plan Development Review 18-0363, which is a proposal to approve an updated site configuration for a shopping center located at the northwest corner of Callaway Drive and Stockdale Highway. Project 5C is Plan Development Review 18-0375, which is a proposal to approve a plan development review for a mixed-use shopping center located on the north side of Mall View Road, 1/3 of a mile west of Oswell Street. And as you mentioned earlier, staff is recommending continuance to the November 1st, 2018 Planning Commission meeting. Project 5D is an extension of time for revised vesting tentative parcel map 11334, which is a proposal to approve 3 more years to develop this project, which consists of 4 parcels on 608 acres, zoned RH for future residential development, located at the southeast corner of Jaunt Avenue and Vineland Road in northeast Bakersfield. Project 5E is an extension of time for revised vesting tentative tract map 6182, which is a proposal to approve 3 more years to develop this project, which consists of 366 single-family residential lots on 104.9 acres located at the northwest corner of State Route 178 and Miramonte Drive in northeast Bakersfield. Project 5F is an extension of time for revised vesting tentative tract map 6871, which is a proposal to approve 3 more years to develop this project, which consists of 222 lots for the purposes of single-family development and 1 sump lot on 40.6 acres zoned R2, located at the northwest corner of East White Lane and Washington Street. Project 5G is an extension of time for vesting tentative tract map 7235, which is a proposal to approve 3 more years to develop this project, which consists of 254 single-family residential lots on 70.93 acres, located at the southeast corner of 7th Standard Road and Callaway Drive in northwest Bakersfield. Project 5H is a revised vesting tentative tract map 7237, which is a proposal to subdivide 2.82 acres into 8 single-family residential lots located at the southeast corner of Hinault Drive and Jenkins Road in northwest Bakersfield, including technical evidence that production of minerals from beneath the subdivision is improbable pursuant to the Bakersfield Municipal Code 16.20.060A4. And finally, Project 5I is an amendment to Chapter 17.60, which addresses signs in Title 17 of the Bakersfield Municipal Code, which is a proposal to amend the text of Title 17 of the Bakersfield Municipal Code within Chapter 17.60 signs. The specific text amendments only involve combining non-commercial signs into one category and enacting regulations. This concludes the reading of tonight's agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Coyle. At this time, I will open all consent calendar public hearing items for discussion. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on a consent calendar public hearing item? Again, this is not time to take testimony. Just request that it moves to the public hearing portion of the evening. So is there no one in the audience wishing to speak on any of the consent calendar public hearing items? Okay, seeing no one, is there any commissioner who would wish to move the consent calendar public hearing item?
Yes, I'd like to move item 5B for further discussion.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. Seeing no other items requested for discussion, at this time, the public hearing on all consent calendar items except item 5C, which will be continued to our next meeting. Mr. Eiger, do we need to vote to move that to the item to next?
No, once you adopt the staff's recommendation, that will be approving that motion.
Thank you. Except item 5C and item 5B. May I get a motion to adopt staff's recommendation on consent calendar items 5A, 5D, 5E, 5F, 5G, 5H, and 5I?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Lomas. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Rudnick. This is a roll call vote. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Cater,
Yes.
Commissioner Bell,
Yes.
Commissioner Coleman,
Yes.
Commissioner Lomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Rudnick.
Yes.
It is now time to hear consent calendar public hearing items removed from that portion of the agenda. Before we begin, I'd like to explain how each hearing will be conducted. Staff will first give a report, then those in favor of the project will be allowed to speak. Those in opposition to the project will be able to speak after those in favor have spoken. Each side will be given 5 minutes to provide rebuttal comments. Individual speakers may ask questions during their statements, but questions will not be answered until the public hearing on that item is closed. Written comments may also be given to the clerk, who will provide copies to the commission. Please be respectful of others participating in the hearing by not repeating the remarks of previous speakers and presenting any new comments and thoughts in a concise and clear way. Mr. Coyle, would you please provide us your staff report on item 5B?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. Agenda item 5B is a revised plan development review 18-0363. The project has been designed by McIntosh and Associates, representing Castle and Cook. The project is located in the shops at Riverwalk, generally located between Callaway Drive and Buena Vista Road, north of Stockdale Highway in southwest Bakersfield. The revised plan development review is an update of the site configuration of a 500,000 square foot mixed-use commercial development in a C2 PCD, which is a regional commercial zone and planned commercial development zone district on 47.65 acres. More specifically, the applicant is requesting to update the site configuration by replacing two two-story, 44,357 square foot office building pads, which have not been constructed, to 4 pads consisting of a two-story, 14,690 square foot office and 9,113 square foot restaurant, and 2 5,700 square foot retail buildings for an overall reduction of 53,511 square feet. As proposed, the requested revisions are less intensive to the overall development of the site. The project has been designed in compliance with requirements of city standards and policies to include design standards for large retail developments, and no deviations from zoning ordinance standards have been requested. Should the applicant decide to expand on-site development in the future, your commission will have the opportunity to review and comment under a separate review. No public comments have been received on this project. Staff recommends your commission approve revised plan development review number 18-0363, as depicted in the project description, and subject to the listed mitigation conditions of approval, incorporating the Director's Memorandum dated October 18, 2018. And I believe all the commission members have received a copy of that staff memorandum. This concludes my staff report on Revised Plan Development Review 18-0363.
Thank you, Mr. Coyle. The public hearing on this item is now open. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in favor of the project? Please step to the microphone, identify yourself, and proceed.
I'm Roger McIntosh with McIntosh & Associates representing Castle and Cook, California, and I have Mr. Scott Thayer with Castle and Cook here this evening. Not sure what the questions may be, but we're in favor of this project. This is simply a change to the site plan. Wanted to mention that there was a memo, I think you all have it, dated October 18th today, that clarifies some of the conditions. Originally, this project was approved several years ago. We had an updated change in conditions in 2014 that was not reflected in your staff report, so this memo would clarify that would apply to this. We don't see a big market demand for the office buildings that were approved there, so we're trying to answer the market in providing more retail and restaurant with some smaller office space. So with that, if you have any questions, we're here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition of the project, or anyone else wish to speak in favor of the project before we move to opposition? Seeing no one, we will now open for anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the project. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in opposition? Before we close the hearing, does any commissioner have any questions for the public on this item? Public or staff on this? Okay, remember, this is not a time to identify or express opinions on the matter, only times to ask questions. Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you. Thanks for the restriction, no comments.
No comments, just questions.
I'm sorry, who's the principal planner on that?
The principal planner for this project is Paul Johnson, who is not here this evening.
Okay. My question has to do with Mr. Coyle. I'll hope that you can answer my questions. My question relates to landscape belts along that particular project, and what consideration have been given to perimeter and infill landscaping in that area.
Well, this project was submitted prior to the revisions to the landscaping standards in the municipal code. However, the landscaping that is being provided with this project is in compliance with the code.
Is that landscape or any reference in this site plan so we can see where the green belts are? So I didn't see that one. Where did I didn't see, yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I didn't see that one. I wanted the pretty green one. Page 91. Give me 1 second. I apologize. We get a lot of these, so it's hard to. Is that what the problem is? Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Yeah. All right. Ah, there we go. All right. I'm sorry. Damn it. I'm wasting people's time. I apologize. 111. I'm not getting to that file. Sorry. I guess the question was related to the landscaping along the river, and whether that's just a continuation of what's already going on, or what the provisions are for the scape along the riverbank there.
Mr. McIntosh, would you care to address that
This is not
question?
the highway, this is the river here. Yeah, okay, so.
Yes, Roger McIntosh. We're emulating what has already been provided along that project all the way from Riverwalk Park to Callaway and even east of Callaway. The Kern River Bike Trail is on top of the levee, and I'm trying to remember the width of the levee easement. I believe it's 25 feet. And within that 25 feet, we can't have any improvements, so we're opting to landscape that slope to match what's happening all up and down that corridor.
Is that green belt that goes across the top of your drawing?
Yes.
Okay.
And there is a landscape plan in the packet. I don't know if that's what you're looking at.
Is that what I'm looking at? Okay, that's what yeah, I'm looking at that now, thank you.
Yes. Okay.
I was having trouble finding it earlier when I was scanning through the documents. Okay.
Let's conclude your comments. Okay.
I don't have any more comments, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. Are there any other commissioner questions before we close the public hearing? Okay, seeing no other questions, at this time I will now close the public hearing on this item and return to commission for comment and action. Commissioner Coleman, would you like to start us off since?
All right, as soon as I dragged it out, okay. I'll make a motion to approve item 5B, revised plan development review 18-0363. Thank you. Is that appropriate? Okay, thank you.
Second.
Okay, and
I'll second that.
Commissioner Coleman and Commissioner Bell with a second. Thank you. Madam Secretary, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Cater,
Yes.
Commissioner Bell,
Yes.
Commissioner Coleman,
Yes.
Commissioner Lomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Rudnick.
Yes.
That concludes the public hearing portion of the evening. Moving on to communications. Mr. Coyle?
The only communication I have for the commission this evening is that we will see one another again on Thursday, November 1st for another Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you. Commissioner comments? Commissioner Coleman?
I just have a question about the November meetings. How many meetings are we having in the month of November?
I believe at this point we are trying to schedule just the one meeting for November.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioner comments? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned at 5:53. Thank you.